Michelle. I'm here today to share I'm going to recreate an album for you. So we're going to do a tutorial. I'm going to do it kind of quickly. So I got a lot of pieces already prepped and ready to go, but we're going to talk about all of the parts and pieces that you need. We're going to put this thing together and we're going to have a good time. So the album is an album that I made for my niece, and she just had her first baby on the 2nd, and I wanted to make something for her that would be simple to put together as far as putting the pictures in the album. The album's already done for her, but it would also be a place to put keepsakes in, and it would be, you know, like I said, really easy to put a lot of pictures in. And then it also is divided up into kind of different sections. So on the inside cover, I have an envelope that I created, a gusseted envelope that we will create on camera. And that will be for her birthday, okay, day she's born. And then it'll have places to put all of her, you know, papers, or, you know, her little baby bracelet, all that stuff from the hospital. And then each page will have a waterfall for a month. So this album will cover from her day of her birth to her first birthday. And it's really simple, but it does take a lot of paper. I will warn you about that. I used almost an entire package of Swaddle. It's by Authentique. And there's kind of like, I bought a couple extra packs because I really wasn't sure how much it was going to take. It took a lot, but I had enough left over so I could do another album, so that was good. So anyways, Swaddle is what I used, and it's by Authentique, and it turned out really, really super cute. So let's go ahead and get started. I will tell you this, I do have a post in Everything Authentique where I shared some pictures. I never did really plan on doing a tutorial for this since I made it for my niece, but I had so many requests that I decided to go ahead and do it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll link the pictures of the album in the descriptions down below this video, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so let me get some stuff out of the way. The first thing we're going to do is make the cover, and I'm going to kind of fly through this a little bit quickly, but you're going to need a couple pieces of cardstock. Gosh, spit it out, Michelle. And these measure, let me double check my notes. I believe they measure 12 by 11, and they do. And then you're going to need some chipboard for making your album, and each piece here, you'll need 2 that are 8 by 10, and then you'll need a spine piece here that is 10 by 3.5. It is a wide album because it does, you know, cover a lot of pages so that you can do the whole year for the baby in one book. So cut your papers, or your cardstock, 12 high, 11 wide. You'll need 2 of those, and then I'm going to connect them with a 1/4 inch piece of score tape. And I have a little ledge on my table that I'm using here, so I'm going to line it up to the edge, and then I'm going to place that down so it's just nice and square. So you probably can't see that ledge because it's off the camera, but just lay that down over that score tape. Okay, make sure it's stuck down really well. So get your bone folder and stick this down. You could use the new method of doing this album. Tamara from Country Craft Creations put out a video on that. When I made this album, I had not used that particular technique yet, so I just decided to go ahead and do the same technique that I did for the album. So then what I'm going to do is get my scoreboard out here, and I need a bigger desk, and I need more space for my camera so I can do wider shots and stuff, but you know, we'll just do it this way. Okay, so 1 inch of space around all the edges of the album, and so this was another trick that I learned from Tamara, which works really, really well. Put your paper in so that you have the edges to keep everything square, and then this is just a scrap 1 inch piece of chipboard that you put down, and then you can go ahead and just lay your chipboard against it, and then you have a perfect 1 inch piece all the way around your album. So take I prepared it with score tape, across the whole entire piece of chipboard, and then just go ahead and layer down just like that. Then what you're going to do is grab another piece of score tape, and we're going to put a 1/4 inch piece along the edge of that. All right. And then we'll grab our spine, and again, I already prepared it. Now this one, you'll notice, so these two, I used almost an entire sheet of the score tape paper, but on this one I pieced a bunch of pieces together. I save the backing that comes on the tape, and then I can keep my scraps, and then when I have enough, I can actually use them and not have to cut a whole sheet again, and I don't waste anything. Because, you know, these sheets are amazing, and I love using them for the covers. But they're, you know, a couple bucks a piece, so I want to keep as much as I can. Be a frugal crafter. Okay, so then I'm just butting that up against the chipboard at the top and bringing it down along the other side of that. And then we're going to put another strip here, and grab our other piece, take the tape off, there we go, and get our piece back, make sure everything's lined up, and then I'm going to lay that bad boy down just like that. Okay, so then we can get rid of these, and I'll get rid of my scoreboard, excuse me. All right, and then I'm gonna just turn this thing over, and I'm gonna make sure that these are stuck down really well. The join will be right in the middle of the spine, so it won't cause a problem. And then I'm gonna take this bone folder here. I'm using different bone folders, you've noticed. This one is a little bit more on the dull side because I don't want to risk having any issues, but I'm just going to feel on the outside of this, and I'm just going to run my bone folder down the edge of the chipboard, and I'm doing this because I'm kind of training my paper to go the direction I want it to go. And I use this technique pretty much exclusively with my albums, although I have, like I said, tried the new method of wrapping the albums, and it's really nice, and it really creates an album that will lie flat when it's open, which is nice. The spine is has a lot, well, actually a lot more give, not a little more give, it has a lot more give as far as opening and closing and laying flat and all that. So it might feel a little different if you try that new method, but this method is what I tend to use more often, just because I think I'm more used to it. But as I've used the new method that Tamara has done, you know, I like it, so I think I just need to practice a little bit more with it. Okay, so then I'm going to take my score tape again. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, I know y'all have seen, or most of you have seen this before. I'm going to take those out, and then I'm going to put my score tape on the edges here. And I'm not going all the way to the corners because we're going to cut the corners off. And then when I run it across this end, I'm just going to use my fingernail and kind of nudge that into the space and lay it flat, because then that way you won't have like a score tape bridge over the top, and when you go to burnish the paper into those creases, it will be a little bit easier. So I like to make sure that they're down there and they're nice and flat against the paper, so I kind of use my fingernail to do that. You could use your bone folder to do that as well. Okay, get that done, and then we'll do the sides. I gave my niece her album, and she really, really, really liked it. So I'm I'm really glad. And then I saw a lot of y'all out there really wanted to know how I did it. It's really super simple, like I said, but it will require quite a bit of paper. I'm going to have a list in the description, so not only kind of a link to the post so that you can see the pictures and stuff, but I'll also have a link to, or a list of how much stuff you need to create this album. It does not have, well, it has 2 magnet closures for the envelopes on the inside covers, and then the rest of the closures for the waterfalls will be with ribbon. So it required quite a little bit of ribbon as well, but I had a ton of it in my stash, so that was cool. That was okay. And so here we go. Okay, so I cut the corners off. You need at least 1/8 of an inch between the end of your chipboard and the end of your cardstock here, and that's a little more than 1/8 of an inch, but that's okay. You need at least 1/8 of an inch. Okay, then we'll take off our score tape all the way around. And then I'm just going to put this down. Now I should say this as well. I am using artisan cardstock on the cover here, and it is amazing. You can get it at Country Craft Creations, and honestly, I don't even know how I lived without it. But when I found this, I was just absolutely amazed. It does not rip. It's just amazing and strong. It's almost 90-pound weight, and it does really work well for albums. Let me stick it to the desk for covering the albums like this. So anyways, I highly recommend it. Now the other thing that I do once I get to this point, the reason why you want that little extra piece hanging over the edge, that little extra 1/8 of an inch, we're going to take and we're going to just use your fingernail, or you can use your bone folder and tuck those corners in, and they will cover the corner of your chipboard. And then when you turn it over, you will have a nice covered folded end. Okay, and we're going to do that to the other side. And I just tend to use my fingernails a lot. Alright. Make sure that's nice and burnished. Alright. Then in these middle parts here, so in the space between your spine and your cover, we're just going to gently fold it up, and then you burnish that cardstock down in there. Get that started. Okay. Nice and gentle, because you don't want any chances of ripping your cardstock. Just nice and gentle. Alright, and that's the other reason you don't want your little score tape bridge, because that'll help it lay down in there better. Okay, so we have our nice cover. Alright, just like that. Then you're going to need to cover the inside of your spine. And so I got this piece. It was a scrap piece, and this one measures 5 1/4 by 9 7/8. So the 5 1/4, it can be a little bit wider if you wanted, but that's what scrap I had, and I could use it. So you need to have it, you know, some going off over to the sides here. So this was about as minimal as I would do it as far as width goes. Definitely wouldn't want to go any less wide than that. So 5 1/4 by 9 7/8, and then just lay that down over the top of your spine. And then I'm going to grab my bone folder again, and I'm going to tease that into there. Use score tape on the back of this, because I wanted to make sure that it had a good stick. Okay, and I'm just Getting that nice and formed in there. Nice and gentle. And then we'll do it over here. And I have no idea what that little spot is. It wasn't there yesterday when I got all this stuff ready. Okay. All right, so that is good to go right there. So now you can just kind of fold that over and get it working, and there's your book. All right, so we have that. Then I cut 2 pieces of patterned paper that I'm going to put on the inside, so that'll cover up the edge of that spine cover piece. And on this, I'm going to go ahead and use my glue, and I didn't get my glue out. Pardon me, I forgot to get my glue ready. What a goofball. All right, so let's go ahead and get my glue ready. I got my art glitter glue here. And, all right. I always forget something when I'm doing this, right? Okay, so, ooh. There we go. Okay, my art glitter glue. Got a little bit much over there. Just squeeze the bottle a little bit too hard, but that's okay. All right. Get one of my gauze pads too. Okay. Good gravy. I don't think I've ever seen it drip quite so much. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to cover the inside of my album, and these pieces right here were cut at 7 7/8 by 9 7/8, the pattern paper. There we go. And this is the inside of the album again. Okay. Do our second piece here. I did not ink the edges of this album, but you certainly could if you wanted to, but I did not do that. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's funny. I was just thinking we needed background music, and then my washer and dryer went off, and they play music when they are done. That's kind of funny. Okay, so the inside covered. We're going to put our pattern paper here, or not our pattern paper, our pages here. So I left that alone. So then the front of our book here, I went ahead and prepared all my pieces. So this will be for the front of the book, back of the book, and then here's my spine cover. So I double matted. I used pink and white and then the pattern paper. And I just, that baby is just so cute. So real quick, the pink paper is 7 7/8 by 9 7/8. The white paper measures 9 5/8 by 7 5/8. And then the pattern paper measures 7 3/8 by 9 3/8. Okay, and then so you'll need 2 of those, however you want to do that. And then for the spine piece, the pink mat is 3 3/8 by 9 7/8. Then we have the white is 3 1/8 by 9 5/8. And then the pattern paper is 2 7/8 by 9 3/8. All right, so then I double matted all of those. I went ahead and already pre-did that to try and speed up the video a little bit. So I hope that's okay with you. I was trying to get this video done. I've got a lot to do today, and I really wanted to get the video out to you guys. I promised, you know, that I would try really, really hard to do so. So I kind of pre-made some stuff to try and get ready because I wanted to get this shown to you. But there we go. All right. Okay, there's that. Make sure my little babies are set the right way, not upside down. And glue that down. I just love this paper with these antique babies. They're so beautiful. Okay. There's our spine, and then we'll do our back page, and then our cover will be done. Okay. Get this. Okay. Okay. So now our covers are done. And we can let that kind of sit aside and dry, but they are good to go. Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to work on here is the envelopes that are going to go on the inside. So before we set that aside, I'm going to show you what we're going to make. So we're going to make 2 of these, and what they are, this is intended, one's going to go here, and then the other one will go and open the opposite direction on the other side. But this one here is built for the inside of the front, and what this is for is the day of her birth, or the baby's birth. So I did a big photo mat here to put the baby's very first picture, and then when you open it up, there's another photo mat here, and then we have a nice little gusseted pocket, so you could put other pictures in there, keepsakes, whatever. There's a magnet closure, and the back is plain because we're going to simply just glue that right onto the album. And with stickers and things you can decorate around, you could put some embellishments on here. So that's what I did with the album that I had made. So we'll go ahead, let's glue this down really quick, and then we'll go ahead and make the other pocket. And we're going to orient it the other direction so that it opens opposite. Opens towards the outside of the book, and then it just simply centers right here, and I'm just going to eyeball it. And then you'll have your nice pocket in the front of your book. All right. So let's make the pocket for the back of the book, and that will be baby's first birthday. So birth to birthday here. Okay, we're going to need a couple things. So we need one magnet, basic gray, and they sell those at Country Craft Creations. We need our photo mats for the page, and then we need our pattern paper, and you only need 2 pieces of this. And I'll go through the sizes here in just a second. And then you're going to need a couple pieces of cardstock that we're going to score and create the pocket with. So let's start with that. So the first thing you're going to need is this main piece right here. And this measures 12 inches across by 11 inches. And then you're going to take and score on a few lines. So let's go through that real quick. First, you're going to score on the 12-inch side at the top at 1/2, at 1, and at 1.5. And then go on over to the other side, score at, keep it in there, score at 10.5, and 11, and 11.5. Okay, so at 1/2, 1, 1.5, and then at 10.5, 11, and 11.5. And then you're going to turn your paper, and you're going to score this at 4 inches. Okay, then you're going to grab a piece of paper, and this one measures 9 by 4.5, and you're going to measure, or score at 1.5, or scratch that. You're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 4.5 inch side. Okay, that's all you're going to have to do. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to get this out of the way for just a second. Then what we're going to do is do some scoring, or some folding and some burnishing. Okay, and then on this one here, we'll go ahead and miter the corner. We'll set that out to the side for a second. And then we're going to do some folding here. So let's fold and burnish here. Okay. And then real quick, what we're going to do is let's do a little cut first. So these 3 scores here on the 4-inch piece, those are going to be the actual accordion piece for your pocket. So they're going to be cut out, and I'm just cutting on the score line. So I guess that means I'm coring, right? And we're going to just cut this piece of scoring out because we don't need that. And make sure you get it, like, you don't want to be in the actual score. We're actually wanting to cut it out. So sometimes I have to line it up in the light to see it really well and take it out. And then do just a little teeny tiny bit of mitering in the bottom, like that. And so we're just going to repeat for the other side. So we're going to just take a little bitty bit of a miter, and then do that up here. And then we're going to cut the score completely out on the long side pocket. And some people like to line it up and put it in their scoreboard and do this. I like to try, I get it in the light, and then I can kind of see where the score is, and I can cut it out. So I like to use my scissors for that. So we'll throw those away. Okay, so we've got this, and then these pieces just accordion in on themselves, like so. So then we'll turn that around, and we'll do this, accordion this side. Okay. There we go. So then all we need to do now is we'll add our glue. To those flaps, and then we're going to just fold that up, and that will create the accordion pocket that we need. Okay. Okay. There we go. So there's your pocket. And then to create the flap, we're just going to attach this guy here like that, and then that will fold over like that. So we shall put a little bit of glue on here again. And when you glue this down, just be careful and not get the paper in the score. You want it right to the edge of the score, so that when you fold it over, it will fold properly. Okay, just like that. Okay, so that's our pocket. Now, this pocket will open up to the outside. So remember, let's get my book again. When you open up the pocket for the inside, it's going to open up that way. So this other one is going to open the opposite direction. So we want to make sure we keep the orientation the way we want it. So then we'll put our pattern paper on, and the flap gets the baby paper here, and the pocket part of it gets the yellow paper. And I just cut these 1/8 of an inch smaller than the white cardstock. So if I can find my ruler where I hid it from myself again. Boy, I'm really good at this. I know that I'm not the only one, though. I know you guys do that too. You get all crafting and then you lose your stuff. So this is 3 7/8 by 8 7/8. And we'll just add our glue and glue that down. Make sure our pocket's in the right orientation. Our babies are not upside down. And we'll glue those down. Okay, now, before we go and put this on, we're going to need to put the first part of our mats on and then our magnet to make the closure. So, grab our set of 3 mats. So we're going to start off with, I'm starting off with 5 by 7, and then the white one on top of that, this is like a triple mat, will be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then this one here will be 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. You don't have to do a triple mat. I just wanted to. But if you want to, those are the measurements you'll need to do. And then it gives you a nice big place for a nice big 4 by 6 picture for it. So on each side, which was what my intention was. So that'll give you about an 1/8 inch all the way around for your mats. Really showcase the picture, though, that you put on here. Okay. So we'll do that, and then our mats are done, or this mat is done anyway. Nice thing about art glitter glue too is you can adjust it. It dries very quickly, but it does give you a little bit of time to readjust what you need. Okay, so then the next step here is that we're going to, if I can pick it up, we're going to glue this mat onto the page, and it's going to go right to the middle of this. And so I want to glue under this piece here because it's going to glue on top of this baby paper. So we're not going to go very far. It's, you know, barely halfway. Put some glue there. And then I'm going to attach that here. I'm going to move it so I can see, but I want it roughly in the middle here. Like that. Looks pretty good. And glue that down. And then when we open it up, that's what you're going to see. Okay? So then that's where your magnet comes in. We're going to put our magnet on. So stick your magnet right about in the middle there. And if you can get the tape off. And then we'll close our pocket, stick our magnet down, just like that. And then we can go ahead and put the pattern paper on and then put our other set of mats on. And then that'll cover the magnet on the other side. And then this pocket will be complete. Pretty easy pocket to make. It will hold quite a bit and be really, really cute. So I think it'll be big enough to hold all kinds of stuff, maybe the cards that baby gets for their first birthday and all that. Maybe the baby the invitation to the baby's birthday, all that. So, okay. All right. So then we'll get our second set of mats. They're cut exactly the same. So we'll go ahead and glue those down. And don't worry, the magnets are strong enough to go through all three of these layers. But again, if you wanted only to use 2 mats, you could totally do that too. So it's totally up to you. You could even do, you know, a journal card. Then I was thinking about this. Now this is intended to hold 12 months worth of memories. This album could actually be used for a couple other different things. It could be used for a year album, so like a, you know, year recap, so every page could be a month of the year. It could be a school album where you have a page for every single year, you know, 1st through 12. You could use the pockets on the front for kindergarten and preschool, and you can use the pocket on the back for graduation day. So this album has lots and lots of different uses. I also thought it would be really super cute as a recipe album, because you could have, you know, all these different sections, and you would have many places to put recipe cards, and then pockets to keep clippings and other things. So yeah, this actual format can lend itself to a bunch of different ideas, and I just think it turned out really awesome. So I'm just lining those up and then gluing those down, and then everybody, that is it. So then you come in with your stickers, and you can do some embellishments on here, which is what I did. And your pocket is done. So let's go ahead and put that in our book. And then we'll move on and we'll create the pages. And then you guys have an album. So there you go. So again, I'm just gonna center this. It's roughly 1/2 inch around each side. There we go. Hi, sweetheart. My doggy just came in to see what I'm doing. Okay, so inside of the album is done. So we have 2 nice expanding pockets. Let's get to the pages now. So the pages, I've got all, you're going to make, whoops, those are not the pages. These are the pages. So these are the pages. You're going to make 6 of these pages. And I made 5 of them because they're time consuming as far as camera time. So I did go ahead and make 5 of them. And we're going to make 1 on camera, so you'll have a total of 6. They have a 1/2 inch binding, and then they have a 1/4 inch give space. And then your page, and then we're going to set it down, and it's stuck down, you know, waterfall style on the spine. And then each page has a nice big pocket where you can put any keepsakes you want. And then the back of the page. So when these pages are done, you'll have 6 pages, and then that will be 12 front and back. So you'll have like month 1, month 2, month 3, and so on to the end of the book. All right. So let's get going with how to make these pages really, really easy. Again, it does take a lot of paper, and I'm sorry I keep hitting the shelf where my camera is, but you know, super worth it because of what this album gives you. So the first piece you'll need is a piece that's going to measure 10.5 by 7.5, and on this one you're just going to score it at 1/2 inch on each side. Okay, so you'll score at 1/2 inch, and then you'll score at 10 on the 10.5 inch side. Okay, and then the second piece you're going to need is a piece that measures, it's 8.25 this way by 9.5, and you're going to score at 1/2 and at 1/4. So then that's all we're going to have to do for that. Then you will need your pattern paper to cover, and you'll need 2 pieces. Now I use different papers for each page. You could use the same if you wanted to. You could do whatever you wanted, really. But one piece here to cover the page is 7 3/8 by 9 3/8. So you'll need 2 of those. And then here's how you construct the page. Really, really super easy. So let's first fold and burnish. So this 1/4 inch space is a nice way to give yourself a little leeway, especially on pages that have lots of elements on them. It just gives you that extra little bit when turning your pages to help keep them more flat and not have them totally kind of sticking up. So we'll do that, and then we're going to fold and burnish the sides here. And then we're going to miter the corners just a wee bit on both sides. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our page, and on the back side of it, so when you fold your page, this part here, the 1/2 inch part, is going to adhere to the spine of the book. So this would be considered the back page. So on the back page, this is where we're going to adhere this pocket. And it's really, really simple. We're just going to put a little glue on this first 1/2 inch tab that we created. And then I'm going to stick it down. And when I stick it down, I'm going to make sure that I don't get it in the score. And I'm going to line it right up to the edge and make sure that it's all lined up and lay it down. And then what we're going to do is, my dog needs me, hang on. Okay, I'm back. So then, once you get that one lined up, then the rest of it's just pretty easy. I'm just going to put a bead of glue near the edge that's going to go against the spine, and then I'm going to put some glue on this last tab here. After I throw it, then we're going to glue it. And we're just going to fold that over and make sure it's all lined up. And then that is how you make the pages, and that's it. Super simple. Super, super simple. Okay. Okay. So then I've got my paper all cut out, ready to go. And we're just going to put a little glue on the page, and gonna lay that down on the page, and that will cover that. Just like so. There we go. All right. That page is covered. And then we'll turn it over, and we'll get this really super cute. Look at the little butterflies on this. It's just adorable. So now I know Authentique made a swaddle that was boy related as well, which is also super cute. But we were having a little girl, and she is adorable. Her great auntie just loves her. All right. Okay, so your pages right now are done. So this is just a simple pocket page, and there we go. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, I'll go ahead and show you how to put them in the book. So on our album, we're going to have a 1/2-inch gusset between all the pages and between the pages and the covers. So we're going to want to take, and you can do this with a pencil or you can just do it with a ruler and just line it up however you want to do it. But I'm going to just try and find that edge here. It's hard to see with this ruler. Let me use this ruler. I can see it better with this one. Right like that. That looks good. All right. Just draw a really light pencil line. That looks about right. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's going to make me crazy. Can nudge it just a hair so that way it'll cover it up. Anyway, okay. So we're just going to line up our pages and glue them down like a waterfall. So you don't miter the edges of this particular part of the page. You want to keep the edges straight. We only mitered the piece that makes the actual pocket. And I'm going to line that up. And pop it down. When I lay it down, make sure I'm trying to get this as straight as absolutely possible. And then we'll lay that down. And there's our page number 1 and 2 in the book. So we'll just keep doing that. And again, I went ahead and finished these pages because I wanted to kind of save time. But you will need to make 6 of these pages. Okay, so you just line it up right next to the previous page. And where's my bone folder here? Make sure it has a good stick. Okay, just like that. Oh, this book is pretty easy. And it was pretty fun to make. I really enjoyed making it. I was pretty excited to make another one, and then I started coming up with all these other ideas going, oh my gosh, I could have done this, I could do this, and so I might end up making another version of this, maybe calendar style, because I don't have any school paper right now, but I'm sure somebody out there will be making some. Okay. All right. Next page. So then the last page, the 6th page, I stick it down a little bit different because I like to keep the spine even, I guess you could say. And I don't like the tabs for the pages showing in the back because they're not showing on the front. So I kind of I'm trying to keep it even. So let me show you how to do it. So you're going to make 6 pages. We just put in the 5th page. Okay. So then the 6th page, you know, you totally could put it down the same way, but you're going to, if you do put it down the same way that we've been doing it, then you're going to end up with a tab that kind of is showing. And in the front of the album, we don't have that. We just have the nice piece of spine. So what we're going to do is we're just going to basically make that tab go the opposite direction. And then we're going to glue it right to on top of the tab that was on the page in front of it. Okay, so that when you turn the book, then you have that nice piece of spine. And so we'll just put the glue on the tab. And then we're going to just lay that right on top of the spine. Okay, so right on top of this tab right here. But don't get it into the fold, so you push it away just a little bit so that the previous page will still fold down nice, but then you still have your 1/2 inch gusset there. And you still have your pocket, and then you have your last page. Now, I nudged it over just a little bit further on the front than I did, than I probably should have, because I wanted to cover up whatever that green dot was. I'm not sure where that came from, but I have a little bit wider piece here on the other side, but you can see how there's a nice folded edge on both sides, and it just looks a little more symmetrical to me. So those are the 6 pages that we have for our book. All right, now let's put the elements on the book, and then we're done. So each of these pages is going to get an element that is a waterfall element. So these will tie with a ribbon, because otherwise we're going to use like a really huge amount of magnets, and I didn't want to do that. And then also that the magnets would compete with each other on the same pages, so I didn't want to do that either. So I decided to go with a ribbon closure, and each of these will be covered, the front one only, with some patterned paper, and then the rest of it is left open for numerous pictures of this beautiful baby. So each one of these will go on a page. This will be for, let's see, the one we're going to make, whoops, there we go, I'm out of order. Okay, so the one we're going to make is going to be page 1. This will be page 2, page 3, and so on and so on. So let me show you how to get those made, and then we'll glue those into the book. Real quick, a note about these. There's a lot of mats. This is going to take, because you're making 12 waterfalls, it takes a lot of paper. It takes a lot of mats. If you wanted to use cardstock that you have in your stash, it will take 18 sheets of cardstock to make all of these mats. That's a lot of cardstock, 12 by 12 sheets. So if you want to do that, that's perfectly a-okay, but take your 12 by 12 paper and cut it to 11.5 by 11.5. And then that fancy way where you can get 4 5 by 7s out of a 12 by 12 paper, well, you can do the same thing with an 11.5 by 11.5 piece of paper. So we're wanting to cut our mats at 5 by 6.5. All of the 5-inch, or all of the mats on the 5-inch side will be scored at 1/2 inch, so that the actual mat size will be 4.5 by 6.5, which would be perfect size for a picture. So if you do this method, cut your paper 11.5 by 11.5, and then you put your paper into your cutter, and you cut on the you put it at 5 inches, and you cut down to 6.5, and then you stop. Then you turn your paper and you line it up at 5 inches again, you cut down to 6.5 and stop. And you do that all the way around, and then you will end up being able to get 4 mats out of 1 piece of cardstock. So that being said, I decided to do it a little bit different, because there is something else that you can do. You can go, I went to my local Michael's, and they have mat stacks that you could buy. And so I used these, and I did have to trim them all, but it didn't take 18 pieces of cardstock to do it, and I think it worked out just fine. So that's what I did. And then because I did that, I got 2 packs. I got some pink and I got some white. So I was able to, I alternated, each waterfall is a different color. So however you want to do that, but that's how I did it. So it required a little bit less of this kind of fussy cutting, but it definitely can be done using this method. So that all being said, you'll need a length of ribbon, and I just chose, I have my ribbon lined up on my wall, color, you know, group by color in 1 yard lengths, because that seems more often than not what I use. And then if I have scraps, then I put them in a scrap bin, and then when I need just little pieces, I can go through that. So I got a yard of ribbon a piece, and on the pink paper I used white ribbon, on the white paper I used pink ribbon, and then I got myself some mats. Now these mats only go on the very front page, so you only need 12 of these, and it measures 6 3/8 by 4 3/8, so you'll need a mat of cardstock. And then you need the base of your waterfall, and the base of your waterfall, and again, you'll need 12 of these, is 6.5 wide by 7.5. So you'll need 12 of those. And then you'll need, for each one of those, you'll need 6 mats. And the mats themselves were cut at 5 by 6.5. And then on the 5-inch side, you score at 1/2 inch. Okay? So there is no mitering on this, so you just need to score all of these 5 by 6.5 pieces at 1/2 inch on one side, because that's how it's going to attach to your base. And then it'll give you room for 12 pictures for each month. Plus there's a pocket there that you could put things in, you know, doctor's visits, notes from, you know, cards from people, whatever. And then you can decorate that very front waterfall with your pattern paper. And then I put like the numbers, like month 1, month 2, and so on, to label those pages. Okay, so then once you cut, then just, or once you you know, cut your papers and fold and score and burnish and do all that stuff, then it's just a matter of gluing them down onto your base. And we're going to do it waterfall style, because it is a waterfall, right? Ha! And just butt that up against it and just make sure everything's nice and lined up and square. Okay, we'll do this 6 times, so you'll need to make 12 of these assemblies. This is kind of a nice project. So yesterday when I was getting everything all ready to go, I was watching TV, a rerun marathon of a show that I've already seen, so I didn't have to really pay a whole lot of attention to it. I already kind of knew what was going on. So it was just kind of a nice way to craft and kind of watch a TV show and zone out for a while. It was really nice. Had a busy weekend. Didn't get a lot of sleep this weekend. My husband is in a classic rock band called Gear Driven, and they had 2 gigs at one of the local places Friday and Saturday night. So, me being the rock group groupie, when he plays, I was at the gigs and had a great time and hung out with the band wives and had a real fun time. But needless to say, there were some late nights and I was tired. So when I was getting this, you know, going, it was just a nice, relaxing kind of project for me to do and just kind of chill out. All right. So there you go. All right. So there's our waterfall. And then here is our pattern paper. Ooh. Why is this leaking? Ah. Okay. There we go. Put our pattern paper on here. There we go. All right, so there's our waterfall. Okay, waterfall's done. Then just turn it around. Oh, I just saw why. Ugh, I didn't screw the lid on tight enough, that's why. Okay, so then grab your 1/4 inch score tape and grab your ruler, and what we're going to do is put a line of score tape down the back of this, and we're going to line it up at like, so here's the center, so line it up where the center, and then it's about 3 1/4, and then we're going to put that down the center of our piece, and then we're going to take our ribbon and find the center of that and lay that down to secure it. And then there you go. So that is done. So then what we do is grab our book, and for page number 1, go ahead and we're going to glue that to our page. So this is roughly, let's say, 1/2 inch on each side, and then about 1 inch from the very top of the page. So that's how that's going to kind of measure out. Then we'll just do glue. And make sure our ribbon stays out of the way. And there you go. Lay that down, and then, ladies and gentlemen, that is all there is to this. And then you'll just take and tie your ribbon, and you can tie it anywhere you want. If you wanted to put a picture on there, you could tie it down below so the ribbon won't be in the middle of your picture. But there you go. So that's what we're going to do for all of these pages. So each page will have a waterfall assembly that I will glue on, and so on. And then this will be month, this will be the birth. This will be month 1, month 2, month 3, and so on. So that is our book. That's the construction of this book and how I did it. And I hope that all made sense. If y'all have any questions, please let me know, because I'm more than happy to answer questions and clarify things. I will have the descriptions. In the description list, I will have the amount of paper you need and the measurements of the papers that you're going to need. Again, it does take a lot, but I think that when I saw my niece's face when she opened this up and started looking at the book, and I explained to her how it was laid out and what my idea was, she was overwhelmed and really, really just amazed and happy that she got it. And it would be really nice for someone who does not do a lot of scrapbooking, because it's really easy to just put the pictures in. And for a new mom, I mean, that's everything right there, with no time and all that. She is going to be able to fill this album up, and it'll be nice and easy for her, and she really did love it. So anyway, that's my album. I will obviously finish this and decorate it, and then you'll get to see pictures of that as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope you liked it, and have a very good day. Bye-bye.